Roll that thing.
Already started this off with very good news, so it's your phone's ringing. I've been pretty much the neighbors. Microphone.
As well as some doses of political theater for members of Congress.
Uh-oh.
I think we need some muting on the Zoom, please. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I just have a couple of opening remarks. It was brought to my attention that the issue of how many years the newly elected members were going to serve had not been made publicly. We made that decision at December, the last meeting in December. So the way it will work is Larry, who is on leave for 2 months, as you know, Carl, Caroline, and I will serve out our 2-year terms at the end of this year. And you may remember that last June we modified the bylaws so that in the future, residents will be serving 3-year terms on the council. And we had to do some jimmying around with the number of years in order to get everybody on the 3-year cycle. So next year, 2007, December 31st, will be the last day for John and Heine. And this was determined by drawing straws or?
Oh, it was consensus.
Yeah. And so then the 3-year term people are Margaret, Yakov, and Fred. So this is for the public record, in case you're wondering who's serving how long. I hope you are now informed. Carl.
Clarify, that means there will be 3 candidates needed next year? No.
4.
Four, and one of them will be for a 1-year term. And then I believe at that point, going forward, all the terms will be 3 years. Okay, that's all I have for opening remarks. Anybody else on the council? Ina has asked me to remember that this meeting is being recorded and that she is working off the recording for her minutes. And so if you choose to speak, please identify yourself by your name first so that she's not sure she's going to recognize everybody's voices. Right. I know you talk. Okay. So let's move into resident ears. Who has something to say this morning?
This is just because.
Name.
Len Rothman, 329. This is just because Artie got his phone. I just have a little tip for everybody. What you can do is just take a picture of someone that you want to have called if your phone is lost, and then have it as the opening picture. People don't need to know your password or anything. This comes up and it says on here, it's got Judy's phone number and my son's phone number. So if someone finds this phone, they call that and get your phone back.
Very good advice. Any other ears? Artie?
Artie Raphael from the cottage. Thank you, Len, for that advice, but I'll have to see you on how to do that. For those who haven't known, on February 8th is the Super Bowl and party at 6:30 here in the classroom, and this is a pool that we've been running for about 7-8 years. I've done the last 4, and there are a few boxes. You don't have to know about football, but it'll be in the Woodland Life, another blurb, and just some information about it. So if you would like to put in $5 or 10 or 20 for 4 boxes, please see me sometime before that Saturday of the 7th. That Saturday. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Artie. I should have said in the opening remarks that there is one addition to the agenda that came up this morning, which is we're gonna be looking at a request from the benefit fund to, fund one of their programs in the health center. We'll add that to the agenda. Next is the approval of, sorry,
No, that's okay. I just thought of something. Ronnie Sue Jaffe. I should have brought this up at Q&A yesterday, but I forgot. Michelle was Jason was talking about that the benefit fund has allocated, I think, $2,500 for speakers, which is great. There are some speakers who come here and donate their time for free. I'm thinking of Gerda Mazel for one, Raina's mother, who comes and she's given a number of talks here for free. And there are a few other people who do come because their family was here for whatever reason. We like to, when I mean we, people here who are involved in bringing those people here, like to take them to lunch or dinner if their talk is before or after a meal, because it only seems like the courteous thing to do. But then we have to take the money out of our own decline, which is not the end of the world. But it would seem to me that if someone is donating their time and they have important information to give to the residents here, that the least Woodland Pond could do is fork over $10 for lunch or $20 for dinner. It seems really minimal. I didn't know where to take this to, so I'm bringing it to the resident council for consideration. Thank you.
thank you, Ramsey. I know this issue has come up before. I don't think it has anything to do with the guest lecture series that the benefit fund is doing. But the benefit fund paying the $200 maximum honorarium is not paying for transportation or meals. So there's sort of a precedent there, I'm afraid. Margaret?
Margaret Nyhouse. At the activities meeting the other day, it was discussed, and Carrie, I think, has decided, and I know this doesn't solve the problem of coming out of your decline, but it would solve the problem of it coming out of your decline more than once. And that is to offer to other people in the community the chance to take someone to lunch that's coming to speak. And the group felt that people would perhaps enjoy doing this. So I think that's sort of where they are right now, as opposed to asking Woodland Pond to pay for it, to see if people would be interested in doing it. I mean, you know, if it's a subject you're interested in, it's a nice chance to do a one-on-one. So that's where Carrie was sort of going with it from that point.
We can see if that works.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Well, I have a second by Jakob. Any corrections or changes to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. 8-0. John, communications from the, nothing we sent or received from the corresponding secretary. Fred has written a very nice monthly report to submit to the board of directors, which has been Larry's responsibility, and I happened to see Larry's response to Fred, in which he complimented him for the report. Do you have anything to add, Fred?
No, nothing more to add. I haven't heard anything from the board. I will be going to their meeting at the end of this month, though, which is next week. I'll be making an appearance and answering any questions.
Right. So we have 8 committee reports today. We'll start off with Margaret in the activities committee.
Margaret Nyhouse. The Activities Committee met on January the 14th at 12 o'clock in the game room. I'm just going to go through quickly some of the items that were discussed. Professor Hung, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, from SUNY New Paltz is going to work in a course that she's teaching at SUNY, and the students are gonna come here as part of that course and teach 4 weeks in the health center and 4 weeks in IL. And it'll be painting and sketching and various art forms. That it didn't have the complete agenda of it, but it's a great opportunity for us to benefit from the art students at SUNY. They encourage everybody to check the calendar for who's next on the community connections. We've had several very interesting ones so far. Another item that's coming up is the dinner. They're going to institute a quarterly dinner theater, similar to the one that we had, what was it, November, October. But anyway, the next one is planned for March, and it's gonna be a comedian magician that's going to be the entertainment. But it'll be a family style dinner, very similar to what they had before, and making reservations and so on. So they are going to try to do it once a quarter. The next item, I think, is wonderful. This is a cross-community calendar items. On February the 13th, they're going to have a Love Bird Luncheon. This is for spouses that are in the split community. In other words, one of them lives in the health center and the other one lives in IL. And this is a special lunch for them. Okay, all right, but it's gonna be February the 13th, so put it on your calendar. But in any case, it just sounds lovely, and they're gonna have flowers and special lunch and whatever. There's also, this is all in aid of community items. The next one is a Love Yourself Day for the entire Woodland Pond community. I think it's going to be in the great room, so you'll have to go over to that part. But anyway, there's going to be a nail salon. There's going to be maybe aromatherapy and other items that you can sign up for and do. And the third one is called Paint and Sip. And it's they're working with the benefit fund to cover part of this, but there is going to be, in other words, you are going to paint something as you sip. And if you would like your sip to be a little spicier, then you have to pay a $5 extra fee. But I have seen it done before. It's kind of fun. The paintings are not difficult, but there will be mocktails, of course. There's also a suggestion for a monthly dance party with a DJ. And there is a member of the activities committee in the health center that is a DJ. So we do have a source there. And they also discussed how new and old residents, those of us that have been here a few years, trying different ways to get the two groups together. Great, Marvin. Thank you, Margaret. Oh, any comments on questions about Margaret's presentation? I would say that what we are adding to the agenda is a request from the benefit fund for the sip and paint activity. We'll add that a little later in. So sure, go ahead with that. Okay, my next one is from the art and decor. And just as you see that the paintings and the artwork is coming down in big places. If that artwork is owned by Woodland Pond, Woodland Pond is taking care of it. If it's owned by a individual resident, they are asked to take it and take care of it. However, if they can't, Woodland Pond will help it with it. Just if you have a lot of paintings on the wall, just to know that. But you basically own that painting. When on the wall it says on loan from whoever, then you own that painting. So it's really your responsibility. There's been some rearrangement of paintings on floor 3 and 4 and south. Some of that's already been done. And John just told me that the paintings we selected to put up in the flex space yesterday are up. So when you go into the flex space again, you'll have something besides white walls. So I hope you will enjoy them. Another thing also from Carrie is that she's planning to do a scavenger hunt for artwork. This is to get people to move around through the community. So she's asked each member of the Art and Decor Committee to come up with 5 of their favorite paintings and give a description. So it'll take a little while, but we're working on it, and it's, I found it fun. I did my 5, and I found it a great deal of fun to go around and pick 5 paintings that I liked and try to describe them so that somebody could find them. I think you'll be given a little hint. I mean, at least you'll be given the wing it's on, maybe the floor, we'll see. But anyway, so look for a scavenger hunt.
Carrie is certainly full of ideas, isn't she? I'll go next with the benefit fund.
Question.
Jacob Pippen. I believe that the art and decor in the past, at least until a year or 2 ago, was also involved with furniture and things in different corners throughout, besides the painting. Now, I want to get a clarification with that, if this is still the case, that they are not getting involved with that, because as part of the reuse project in sustainability, we often have things that we want to give away. In the past, we gave priority to Woodland Home, basically, to take things. The channel was the Art and Decor Committee. So if that's not the case, then
I'm going to refer you to John. I'm going to refer you to John, because I think we're not doing it, but John was the former chair, so he said.
You know that because of all the renovation, all the furnishings in public spaces is gonna look alike. The administration is getting new stuff for all the areas, like in front of the concierge and out here and in the various cubby holes where they make puzzles and things like that. So we really don't have anything to do with the furniture anymore.
so who is marketing them involved? No,
Well, marketing could be involved.
they are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Margaret? Thank you. I'll talk about the benefit fund for a minute. I'm filling in for Larry as the council liaison to the benefit fund, but while he's on leave, I'm filling in. I went to my first meeting yesterday. The balance in the bank at the community foundation is $217,427. I did have I noticed what I consider to be a fairly serious problem. I went to the library before I went to the first meeting to read up on the minutes of the last year. And the benefit fund has apparently not had a secretary for quite some time. There are no minutes for last year at all in the library. And I suggested to the chair that perhaps the fund could use some new members, because nobody who's on the fund committee at the moment wants to be the secretary. It's a very interesting committee. They do great work. And so I'm sort of recruiting for someone who would like to join and help out, especially with the problem with the minutes. I think especially since they are approving the expenditure of funds, they need a written record. We did talk about the guest lecture series, which the benefit fund is running in cooperation with the activities committee, and next Tuesday. The first, is that correct? The first professor in this guest lecture series is coming. Professor Keely Hewer from New Paltz, speaking on citizenship in ancient Greece. So that sounds interesting to me. What came up in conjunction with this is that there's a very cumbersome procedure to get speakers paid. And I'm hoping that I can help out with that as well. Cynthia Carangelo, the new activities coordinator in the health center, was present at the meeting. And we talked about health center programs that are supported by the benefit fund. They had a really wonderful time last month with the kangaroo and the snake and these animals who were brought by the 2x2 petting zoo. They also talked about the sip and paint and and Gordon, the chair, will be presenting request for payment of the down payment to get that going. I also asked about the aquarium, which disappeared a while ago, as we all know, and was told that the benefit fund really doesn't have anything to do with that anymore. It's being managed, the replacement, whatever's going to happen is Cameron Reale's responsibility, and I have put in a call to her so I could tell you what's going on with the aquarium, but I haven't heard back from her yet. The other thing that was interesting at the benefit fund was as you know, probably they support scholarships for employees. And we now have since the death of Dick Berry, he also established a scholarship fund for employees. So Anne is inviting Bridget Blum to come to the February meeting where we can figure out how these two scholarship programs are going to work in concert. Any questions? Okay. John, do you want to go next with Grove?
John, Rove. The Rove Committee, met and, they have an account balance of $5,863. They had two major discussions, and they kind of overlapped. One about miscommunication on the opt-out, opt-in form, and also some problem with getting their message out in advertising. And that's essentially that. But I'd like to, got a lot of big audience here, plus all the people in here. We seem to have a lack of understanding about Grove. And that's what came up at the meeting. When I first moved in here, I hadn't been here 30 minutes, and a young man was walking up the sidewalk, and I was unloading the van, and I had hired professionals to help me moving in. And he said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "No." He said, "Yeah, let me help you." And he took the guys and showed them where the carts were to move things in. He started carrying stuff in, and for over an hour, he helped harder than the guys who I was paying to do. I tried to give him a tip. He said, "I can't take that." I said, "Say what?" He said, "I'm not allowed to take that. I get fired if I took that." I thought this was crazy. So for the next 3 weeks, I started asking, but the person who cleaned the room, people that served me meals and things like that. "Oh, can't do that, can't do that." Well, how do we get them a tip? And then I discovered, different name, but it's now Rove. And I realized that we don't understand that Rove is entirely 99% run by residents. Okay. They set up the whole thing, and they were having tremendous trouble with people contributing from the health center. It made sense. People in the health center have their bills paid, if not by them, then by an attorney or a financial advisor or an accountant or a family member as far away as great nephews and nieces. And so those people don't understand it at all because they don't get. Grove tried to put stuff in. They're not allowed to because of HIPAA. They're not allowed to contact these people who are paying the bills. So Michelle came up with this idea of the opting out system, and she'd used it someplace else, and it worked very well. And they tried it, and they've been using it for 2 years, but there seems to be still some questions on it. And all it is if you don't do anything, you're going to contribute $100 per person a month. With a couple months on either end to take care of the slop of, and also for new people, they don't contribute till it comes in. So that's the only percent that came from the administration. Plus, it goes to Christy B, and people have been going to her, but she's not the one that takes care of this. It's Rove that takes care of the forms and everything else. So if any of you are sitting at the dinner table or you have a question, go to somebody in Rove and ask, and they'll explain it. They're still working on the form, and they realize there's some problems with it. And then somebody who was visiting was in the peanut gallery and said, "I'm a new resident," and the new residence form is even more confusing. They discussed it. I think Grove might have picked up a new member because she volunteered to look at it, take care of it, and do it. And the committee said, "Oh yeah, that'd be great. So that's what's happening. But it's very important that you understand that the only thing that happens is they collect the money, turn it over to Sawyer, Sawyer turns over to Rowe, and then Rowe saves it, and then they disperse it at the end of the year. And that's the most important thing, to stay on top all the time. Benefit, they still have things, some similar problems. We just don't get into why and how it works. Questions? Ask somebody on the committee. Thank you.
Jakob Friedman, on sustainability, there is little to report. We don't have a meeting, I'm sorry, we do have a meeting next week, the general meeting. The steering committee had some discussion about some of the proposals by the activities committee about the activities fair that perhaps is going to happen, I believe, in a few months. And there was a call for the committees to, volunteer to men or women a couple of tables. And so one suggestion was that probably it would be too many tables, and it would be a useful thing to do, which I'm going to report to the activities committee, is to have all the committees, put a board basically with the key things for that committee. So people, you don't need to have an additional tables and so on. The other thing is April 20 to 24. It's going to be Earth Week. Earth Day, I believe, is the 22nd, 23rd. That's the International Earth Day. Typically, the Sustainability Committee has had a task group to prepare all the things. We have already formed, we're in the process of forming the task group. It's chaired by Sue Gilder, and it's going to be plenty of activities around that week in the dining room, in lectures, and other activities. It's going to be a little different because of the issue with the construction and so on, so maybe different from other years. And if people want to, participate, it's open for everybody to kind of join the task group. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's basically, this is about it for the time being. Any questions?
Thank you, Jakob. Item? Mental Health and Wellness Committee?
Mental Health and Wellness met on the 9th of January, and they welcomed me as the new representative from the council. Effective January 26th, Annika will be here at Woodland Pond Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. She'll let us know on work being done to improve the plan for transition for those going from independent living to the health center. And she also advised that currently Michelle is handling most issues related to the health center overfill, which is now taken care of. So one of the members said that they would bring up the issue of grievances pertaining to renovations from the logistics committee, and that I understand has been taken care of. On the 14th of November, Michelle had emailed a form called the Woodland Pond Construction Grievance Form, which perhaps would be helpful for people having issues with anything involving the construction. There's a new grief group that began on the 9th and continues for 8 weeks. There are currently 6 residents confirmed, possible 4 additional to be added. And regarding the Alzheimer's Association group, Annika advised that despite residents not showing up for meetings, the 2 leaders from the outside group to Woodland Pond want to continue to meet with Annika to brainstorm about ways to inspire more interest. The peer caregivers group has had one session left. The two peer leaders are willing to continue running the group with Annika's help. There are currently 5 in the group, and another group will be starting. Vicky Baker, now a resident aide, will be using a prepared plan checklist as she assists independent living residents in need of home or non-nursing tasks. There was a recall about the advocate form which residents filled out, and the activities that were listed, whether it worked or not. Liz Elliott and Annika plan to meet with Shannon and Courtney to go over the wait list. Currently, a big chunk of time is spent on screening. The mental health committee would like some clarity on the interview process and when cognitive disability precludes admission to IL. Annika said that the current interview process is good and comprehensive, and the resident welcome committee communications to management about new resident admissions about whom they may have some concern is being discussed. That's all.
Comments or questions for Anna? Caroline has 2 committees.
I have very brief reports. The Welcome Committee met on Tuesday, January 13th. Our useful information packet, which is given to new residents by their mentors, was revised to show the changes in the Woodland Pond Handbook 2026. On Friday, January 23rd, the committee will be hosting a new resident orientation. 1 new couple and 1 single should be moving in the end of January. That's it. Any questions? Oh,
I know that in the past, I mean, there was some question about some committees being able to kind of address new residents and offer, them to join. I know that the admissions and when people move in, there is too many things on their plate and on their concerns. But has there been any discussion about the possibility, like for instance, I believe that you have a meeting, a new residents meeting twice after people come in, correct? But I understand that that meeting is just restricted to the new residents and the welcoming committee, but other committees don't have an opportunity to kind of present some of what they are doing. Perhaps people want to join them and so on.
well,
Is there any consideration?
a lot of it is social. A lot of what the new residents group does is social. So I think.
It's on. It's on.
Oh, okay. So I really don't have anything more to say about it. Anything else?
I'm going to kind of address what Yakov said. So as a new Jackie Bondi, as a somewhat new resident, about 6 months now, I think within the first 2 months, learning about committees is too soon. It's so overwhelming. However, it's wonderful to learn. So maybe at twice a year, there could be some kind of presentation of all of the committees for new people. Because I think after a new person like myself is here, for me, it was a 4 month. At 4 months, I was ready to understand or start understanding what was going on. So maybe there could be something like that set up.
Later in the agenda, we'll talk about the program that we are planning for the quarterly meeting of the association at the end of February, which is all about committees.
Okay. The other committee I'm covering for Larry is the Land Conservation Committee. And they met on Friday, January 16th, and decided to disband and become an interest group. It will be known as Trails and Lands. Any questions?
That means we now have 15 committees. All right, thank you, everybody. Moving on to old business. The so-called resident engagement platform. I would not know what that means, but it means how we're all gonna communicate with each other. That the management has been trying to deal with for months and has come up with the Go Icon platform. Jason talked about that yesterday at the management Q&A, and I think we'll all be hearing from him soon on how this new way of receiving and giving information will be set up. Unfortunately, I had to leave the management Q&A before Michelle talked, so I believe she talked about the health center.
No,
Oh.
ahead of time.
Oh, okay. Well, I have nothing to report then on the health center capacity or on the dining. We had an interesting conversation with Michelle and members of the residents council and the guests at the last meeting about the decline in balance and the food price increase, and we're expecting management to come up with some follow-up on that, but I have nothing to report there. I wanted to mention in particular, though, and emphasize that in the January 16th Chanticleer, they wrote about, I guess, what they're calling the vision, mission, values statement. About 20 residents and staff have attended the first meeting where they're working on wording for what makes Woodland Pond such an incredibly special place. I just thought this language was very interesting. Woodland Pond wanting to be seen as the leader / model for CCRCs across the industry, to be the CCRC that sets the gold standard with innovation, collaboration, support for personal growth, the sense of purpose, fulfillment residents feel through social connections, programming, and committee work, the sense of belonging and connecting with neighbors and staff alike, the intention with which we welcome each day and what it will bring and what we can bring to it, the unwritten commitment we all make to bettering this community through our actions and contributions, the idea of living fully, aging well in a sustainable way, caring about one another and sometimes caring for one another. So somehow this is all going to be put in, as I understand it, to a new statement of mission, vision, and values. I know that Yakov has attended the first meeting. There are going to be 2 more meetings to discuss this, and they are welcoming new people to become involved. The next 2 meetings are January 30th and February 13th for anybody who wants to participate in this little project.
Yeah, I attended that first meeting and there was a lot of discussion, how brief, how extensive and so on. And I think this is kind of like probably the first draft of putting anything that people suggested should be there. But there is going to be more discussion. I think it's an interesting, task force or task group. And, people have ideas or so definitely should join and participate in the discussion. And I think that at the end of the 3rd meeting, I guess we expect to have something that it's maybe more concise.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm going to add to the agenda at this point the request for payment from the benefit fund, and Gordon will speak to.
The shorter one.
Thank you for putting this on the agenda.
Say your name so she has.
Yes, this is Ann Gordon from the Benefit Fund. I just have to say, we're not quite as feckless as you made us seem. We do take minutes at our meetings. We take turns taking minutes, but somehow we never manage to get them into the book of the library. But I will remedy that.
Great.
This is a party where people will get together and with prepared canvases and supplied paints and instruction, they will create a picture of a beautiful cardinal in the winter, and they're hoping to get 30 people to come to this. With such a large amount of people, that means that some people from IL will be able to attend if they're interested. The problem of serving wine to everyone in assisted living came up because there are a number of people there whose medications don't allow for them to have wine, so that by purchasing the wine individually, they will be able to screen out people who don't get it. So I think this is being carefully done. It sounds like a wonderful event. The total cost is $750. The benefit fund has agreed to pay half, and that'll be the half that goes to them this coming week as a down payment, and the other half will be paid by the activities committee in the health center. So that's the request. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Just a comment, the problem with putting the minutes in the library, is that the technical issue or to have the minutes in the library? You mentioned that.
There's a couple in the library.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, there is also on the Woodland Pond website, there is a depository for committees. If you want some advice about that, we can try to, I mean, that's going to be moved, hopefully, but from my understanding, I asked Jason, I believe, a day or two ago. Right now, the first priority is to get the announcements, I mean, for, broadcasting announcements, and I don't know how soon that's going to happen. It may take months and months.
Okay, thank you, Marco. Any other questions about,
My understanding from the meeting is that you're looking at February 28th for this event.
yes, yes.
All right, I think you have some paperwork for us to look at.
You signed the second line.
We need a motion to approve the payment. Ina moves, John seconds. To approve the benefit fund spending $375 for an art party in the health center, which I understand is called Sip and Paint. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Ann.
If you could sign that.
Oh, yeah. I think officially we should acknowledge that Margaret is our council liaison to the activities committee. I don't know if we need a motion. Can we just say by consensus, Margaret is our person? All right. And similarly, I don't know, I looked in the bylaws, I don't know what the resident council is supposed to do when a committee dissolves. I think we can just acknowledge that it has dissolved and that when the new interest group is formed, they'll go through the process of putting in the paperwork for that. And speaking of paperwork for new interest groups.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
one question. Was there a particular reason why the committee decided to dissolve?
Well, first of all, Larry has been head of it for 7 years and he no longer was interested. Also, some of the things that we did have been taken over by other groups, such as picking up the trash on 299, that was instigated by the Land Conservation Committee. And I guess the interest has just waned. People will continue to work on the trails as a committee, but we will not be, having speakers every other month. That's really the only difference.
That's interesting that you make a comment about the speakers, because when I learned about that, I brought it to the Sustainability Committee, because we have been alternating months for speakers, but somehow we got told that although the committee doesn't continue, the use of that slot every other month is still going to be used by the interest group, perhaps. You
I
don't know.
have no idea,
Mhm. All right,
but it was unanimous to disband as a group.
okay.
Well, speaking of new interest groups, we have a new interest group. Barbara Stemke is here to talk about it. The Woodland Pond, or the WP Improvers. I'm saying that correctly.
We're not using improvers, because Betsy Tooley told me that.
Back into the mic.
I am Barbara Stemke, and Betsy Toole told me that the people building our new addition are the improvers. Woodland Pond has an improv group.
Okay. So our new interest group is called the Woodland Pond Improv Group. And you have a piece of paper that we are to look at.
I submitted the paper to Carrie Collar.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And you had a meeting last night?
We had a great meeting.
And if you want to take a minute to make a pitch for your new group, please do so.
13 very satisfied Woodland Pond residents sat at 2 very long tables. And we had a guest teacher of improv, Christopher Pollock, named Topher. And he's a member of the Happenstancery Improv Troupe here in New Paltz. And he brought us up to date on the history of improv in the United States, starting in Chicago at the university there. And he taught us simple improv games that we can play with each other, word games. It's all speaking. You know, we'll get it, and some movement. We play movement games and sound games. We play all kinds of games to grow our brains and grow our empathy and collaboration and partnership. It's a win-win for everybody.
That's great. You're a good salesperson. All right. The last item on our agenda is, I don't think we need to approve it, no.
I just have a question.
Oh, sure.
The group sounds great. I just had a question. The leader, the Topher, is he a volunteer or is he?
He taught the members of the Happenstancery.
Well, that's too bad.
All right. He's our teacher, and he's a member of one of the leaders of the Happenstancery Improv Troupe, and he comes here every few months to teach us more. And we're on our own. We're meeting
As a volunteer, right?
as a volunteer. Oh, yes.
All right, the last item on our agenda, if we're ready.
Somebody in Zoom, on Zoom? Halima, can you unmute yourself, Halima?
I am unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Halima.
Because your sound today was much better. I'm actually not in Davos. I had something to do here this morning, but I want to on the idea of having residents get familiar with interest groups. Several years ago, we had an open house. Whoever interest group wanted put up a table in the pack. We had about maybe 12, 13 tables, and residents came in, they spoke with whoever was at the table, and there was a sign-up sheet, and it was very successful. A lot of people didn't know what some of the interest groups did. So something to keep in mind.
I just had one item. I would piggybacking on what you said about a place on the website for minutes. Because I have asked about this and I know when I was chair of the health center committee that long ago, I never got a response that there was a place. And if there is a place, we certainly should be encouraging every committee to upload their minutes to that spot. So if you give us some information, you don't have to do it now, but it's just, the word is not out there, and I actually requested the information and never got it.
Right now, I know for a fact that the Sustainability Committee has a page.
But nobody else.
I think exactly, I mean, and I think at the time, I mean, when we discussed it with even Cameron before she left the first time, I mean, that was part of the project, that there will be places for people to, I can ask if there is any progress on that, or they don't want to deal with it right now until they institute the new system.
I have to change the subject for one moment. On Zoom, the person who has their name is Karen's new iPad. I'm sorry, but I need for the minutes to know who you are, and I can't recognize you. Can you either tell me or restate your name in the box? Turn on you're muted. Please unmute.
You are muted.
You're
Steve.
muted.
There we go. Daniel Ruback.
Rubex, I've got. Karen's new iPad I don't have. You're still muted.
Does anyone recognize that lady?
No,
That could be Karen Jabs.
Is it?
Karen Jabs.
Is it? That doesn't look like her.
that's not Karen.
Karen,
No,
no,
that's not Joe Bergen's wife.
It's not.
That's, no, she's.
No. No, I don't recognize her either.
Okay.
Sorry, we need to move on, I think.
She's talking.
The last item on our agenda is planning for the Residents Association meeting on February 25th, our first quarterly meeting in 2026. We have discussed by email having the program be committees. Now we have 15 committees, and we're not going to have all 15 committees discussed. So we thought we would choose 5 and ask the chairs of each committee to do a presentation followed by Q&A. And we thought this would be in a particularly appropriate program because we have 39 new residents in 2025. And as Jackie Bondi said, just beginning to get a grasp on all the things that go on here. So we did a sort of survey of the council members as to which 5 committees to choose. And tentatively, we came up with activities because it's a new committee and it's doing so much. Dining, which is important to everybody and is a big committee. The health center, which is also a very important committee. And then art and decor, because many of us have art in the corridors or see art in the corridors, and what Margaret described was very interesting, what the committee there is doing. And the library. The library is particularly timely because this library across the hall is going away. This library across the hall is going away and is going to be replaced in part in the 3rd floor south corridor crossover area between the south and central wings.
All right, it will be, the fiction and mystery books will be placed, as the shows will also be moved, to the crossover on the third floor. And then the central lounge there will be used for various things that are part of the library. And that will be till the library gets moved back and the rest of the books will be stored. How it's all gonna be done, we're working with Dave Roberts, and it will be done in a timely manner. It will be sometime middle of March.
I think the library, if people have not explored what's in there, just the shelves that are full of books by residents is worth a good look.
Again, as a new person, I think that's a great idea. And our calendar is amazing and fantastic. But I wonder if there could be a second meeting, which might be about interest groups. That's how I found the women's group and current events, etc. And then a third meeting about fitness.
I think those are excellent suggestions. There are 50, I counted them in the Woodland Pond newsletter. There are 50 interest groups. I know that the activities committee is talking about having some sort of fair in the spring outside because there are so many committees and interest groups that will want to be displaying what they do. I also thought that we might, for the association meeting, prepare a handout with brief descriptions of all the committees and what their missions are. So I guess, do we need a motion to decide what we're going to do with the February 28th? Everybody's on board with those 5 committees? Okay, I will be in touch with the chairs of the 5 committees and ask them to prepare a 5-minute presentation and be prepared for Q&A after that.
February 28th is a Saturday.
February 25th. I hope that's what I said. It's a Wednesday. So the closing second ears, any comments?
Quickie, one is a comment and one is a question. Comment to John on Rove. Maybe a suggestion could be made to marketing that at the closings, some kind of information is given out to new residents.
It is.
Okay. The second was a question. Is it possible to find out what this terrific thing that Fred is going to be presenting to the board of directors? Is it possible for us to know what that is?
Sure. It's filed with the minutes in the binder in the library. There's a monthly report. Larry and Fred has followed the example. It's a dense 1-page report on what happened during the month. Yeah.
Oh, this is what goes on all the time?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, then never mind. I thought it was some special, okay, thank you.
Done every month, even if there isn't a board meeting.
Okay.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
Margaret, I think I just want to ask one question.
It's really for the council. What is stuff. If we're going to do a booklet or a document on the descriptions for the committees, we need to have who's going to do it. Who's going to do that?
I sort of thought I would at least start. I'm going to start with the annual reports that committees. I will be glad to ask for it.
Second.
We have motions of Carl, you know, I'm saying.
She called me a second.
Okay.
Shall we adjourn? All in favor? Aye.
It is.
11:01.
Wow.
Long meeting.
No.
Well, I just think it's not such a. Let's do it. Let's do it. I agree that you get like over, but I brought it for everyone. Got it? Yeah. And it's not a problem if you do it, but somebody has to be about how they have the night has the right. Website for visits, and not everybody here has their own website. You never know what develop on to leave one, and how much taking the physical down, perhaps right now.
You never know what's in people's personal life, all right? Well, it's really nice of
We're advertising, there's no way to do it.
Oh, I'm sorry, you think?
Yeah.
I saw him put on.
I'm sorry I wasn't there. I was in here, but I didn't do that. No. Bumping into people, I gotta look where I'm going to, sorry.
How you doing? Good. See you.
Oh, I guess, yes, we want her, like, everybody.
With that storm coming out, yeah, they go down.
Okay.
I was gonna go back.
Okay.
So nobody ever said it.
Right.
I don't know. I've now lost it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Anyway, if there is, let me know. I'll look something else, let me know. Go to Liberty,
Such as better chase. Early darkness.
send it.
The Indian restaurant.
Something that everybody would check out.
No, I understand, yeah, but I'm saying to make an announcement, you know, close to. I'd like to start that. And you want to another example. The others is that with the years, not always that more.
Right now, then. That's just.
I don't, for example, unfortunately, I'd like to. Like you have those school closed, you want to have one, like. I'm late today. But we then found the place.
Yeah.
Found a good place.
Oh, so there's all, there needs to be.
But that's my, it's like, you know, shy.
Like, yeah. Get it on that, like, the big truck.
Okay.
You.
I'll find out.
Yeah. The Shanxi one is also, so that kind of owners, exactly same thing. But in Hollywood, next door is. I don't know, and it's a very good lunch.
Okay.
All the. I have it written down. I'll send you a text.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff to go now.
Don't come back over.
Yeah, we try to do it, we just try to do the good. Yes. And so forth.
Jason. He told me, he told me that we're.
What are you gonna ask?
It's a good thing he's circulating because the
Well,
It's unbelievable.
you know, a lot of the information about.
That's what it was, but
Yeah.
that's what it was. Coincidentally, we can come to
And it does go into. You know what happened? I went to the concierge to see, did Shannon remember to put in the work order?
I don't want it to be more than one.
The girl couldn't find,
I get it.
but then
So.
I went
Oh,
and saw Jason, and I said, Jason, I don't think the work order, he said, that, I know all about it, because they sent the work order. So there was a work order, but nobody knew where it is, and they were sending it to you. And that's when I found out, that was, but meanwhile, until several years from now, when they do. Every time we have dinner, once every 2 months, dinner for people in our, they're 12, 13 hours. In your floor. Yeah, at the lounge, we have, every time we have to put requisition on table and chairs, and, cause we really don't wanna seem like, well, a lot of frail people shouldn't be sitting. But also, they're card chairs, you know, and some of these people, when they settle down into it,
Okay, we're visiting family.
it's an accident waiting to have the.
So, all right.
Yes,
Well,
Mr. Lund?
You're on wine.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Webb, finish scoring.
It's really hard.
It's going to go present.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
No, luckily I'm down in the, with or without my glasses, and I don't see two of them. Which reminds me, one of the surgeons that I excelled at, decided to his first
Well,
surgery
it's
moved.
only gonna have five.
Had another person, then I had a third. They were checking up every 4 months on him. I moved here, this Kaplan only does it every 2. She's the first thing. I don't know, if it's K.
Not necessarily bad,
It's just kind of opposite. It's a, it'll come up.
Because I work with some Kaplan, as long as I do.
Oh, okay. Could be the same. I mean,
No,
he's.
I don't think he was the one of the Kaplan that I worked.
Oh, but anyway, from my point of view, the last person I had really talked about music was, but, he highly recommended
they made
a
plans.
supplement called AREDS 2. AREDS.
Now they're on the.
I've been taking
Even
it.
though they could, listen, I won't be.
It's for eye health.
Postal
Eye health.
But they're not so.
Yeah, and,
It works better.
I know when I don't take it,
They
I put it in with my vitamins, some days I just
more communal.
forget about it.
And I think it's such a problem,
But I found that
but it's very hard
that really helps.
to find out what their plans will be.
My eyesight seems to be better. Now it's my psychological.
Then when you talk about people, percent saying.
But it's funny, like I'll say, I'll go over to my vitamin collection and say, oh shit, I haven't taken much yet.
The rules is we can.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Because.
We just have to.
Ask
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But that's the one stuff, that's the only actual stuff that I, that
No.
you see that I take. The other ones I take,
would say she
is
was
like
not.
staff, and you're supposed to take, alpha.
I guess you.
Alpha,
Yeah.
oh,
Just think
and
that. I was.
my stats for.
I can go through some.
Yeah, I take Rovis, the other one, but apparently you need to have CoQ10 and alpha code in your system, and it's not enough to help.
She really is involved.
And again, I was a guy and Dr. Well, or something like that out in Arizona.
Hundreds,
25
hundreds
years
of
ago, I read something.
At some
About
point,
the trace.
I said.
His point was, the best thing to do that happens, the best thing
Making it
happen
available
is
for our.
define
They.
all your life,
And
and then maybe,
then
at most a year, but preferably like 6 months, talk to end up skilled care, but now it's real fast done. That's the way to go. And I said, yeah, and finally I gave up. No, because you talk to. No, I mean, the other one. No, but we have this pact between, there's a road in Utah called Mookie Douglas. And it was designed to take minerals from up on a mountain and down to the bottom, it's a dirt road. And it's one switchback after another, no guardrails. And John and I decided, well,
Well, it works hard.
pedal the metal and drive off.
Explain that.
So you have a good car and you
No, take the seatbelt off, make sure it doesn't have, get an old, rent an old car, it doesn't have bags in it, and all that other stuff. Jill's sister won't go down it with us. Every time we get out there, say, let's go through the Dugway, it's a beautiful drive. No, I've heard too much about that.
Oh, and after
10 or so, but several people almost never show up. But she insisted they stay in Memphis.
about Joanne.
Shannon,
She is out.
Very important.
She. I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think it would be nice. I just think that an introduction to the.
That brown one you talked about, the brown one, yeah, I wish, I really wish I could communicate that to my son, because people need that. Mostly are outside if someone's building a home.
Yeah. Shannon doesn't always come, she has a lot of.
Good.
Really good.
Yeah.
So Shannon, she's very organized. Shannon knows what can be done and what not. For example, there was somebody who was on the committee, never mind who it was, somebody been on to me for a long time, and they kept coming. When Shannon was there, Shannon kept coming, and they were, this person's about. All I care about is the furniture, choosing furniture, I can't stand the furniture. And that's what I want our committee to do, and which one I said to her. And no, we talked about last time when you weren't here, Shannon said we absolutely are into.
I'm hoping this new Go.
We are about the.
Icon, and I think we should also take care of interest.
Right.
Demonstration.
That first.
I got on the demonstration from Go Icon.
Yeah,
They
that
had
person said.
anybody could come, yeah, it's right in this room. About 3 months ago. You probably were away. They had a whole team came in and explained Go Icon. And
It were great.
like the last one just expanded. You want to form a little hike, and that might be my interest. I'd like to find enough people who'd like to go up to some of the hills around here and walk, climb them. Yeah, but
So they're on the floor.
they take specific things. I just want to meet up group that says, I'd like to go up to Storm King and hike Storm King and find.
Unless it's around your door.
Most of the people from here who go as slow as I do, but are willing to climb them up. And, things like that, or it could be, a tea drinking group. Like, let's get together and try the teas. And that's what Go Icon is to. Really good.
Well,
I just call my school that it doesn't necessarily have a dining reservation thing, but they may, they're not sure about it. Or that's the only thing I see here.
So we went up.
Too many mistakes.
And if the pictures say probably was a pond is a pond.
See, there's. Joe overheard somebody complain about the fact that they seem to be keeping us from cooking.
Final things that we can't do. But anyway,
They're trying to keep us from cooking here. They would spend all that money on the kitchen and every damn apartment. I mean, they really would.
Yeah, but there's a lot.
And when people say, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, my children and I all say,
See, I'm at the office. I probably everybody thinks it. I know. Boy, it sucks, too many. We do.
But Barbara doesn't. Yeah.
Barbara.
That's where we are, Joe.
Actually, I would rather.
That's fine. First, I know.
Yeah.
But you know,
Here's the thing, go icon, see, I'm looking for other singles that want to eat together, come together. And then you go from one person to another, you know, once a week,
Make it.
a little round robin, yeah. Pop up dinner and somebody's got some large pieces of art. And that's the type of thing that this should allow you to do. If
But anyway, you will see when you go into the budget.
administration.
I mean.
Oh, that's right.
Figures, almost as big as that, but at least one of those like those.
Oh, yeah, they were talking about that one going those things.
Well, it's not, because
It's
we
not.
already picked up,
Don't.
we already picked up some things, put them in. the budget.
Exactly.
And I really like it.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. But we're meeting different ways to communicate. You know, you have a meeting of very direct, I find it very prominent. And wasting. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Wade.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people do have it.
Yeah.
Well, let me know when
I don't want to,
Okay.
Oh, I want this.
Oh, yeah, you mean to have an electronic calendar, yeah, yeah.
Put it in my calendar.
I think Go Icon will solve that too.
Okay, well, that's why.
That's why you want to stay interested in that. If they ever have another meeting about it, they cannot.
Well, that's gonna happen.
Were you there yesterday for the Q and A?
Yeah.
Okay, because they mentioned that they're gonna have a trial run of the Go Icon, something on, and that type of stuff. It's really important. This should be designed for us. Not designed for the administrative top down. Yeah, it's some of those. Yes, it's should work both ways.
She said, today, you said that today?
Today, because I know I have.
You talked to her, didn't you?
No, I didn't talk to him today.
Because I said they saw, Paul, we taken out on stretcher.
Again?
Well, like a couple days ago.
Oh, then you back.
Yeah, oh, it's back.
Well, they did, that was what that meeting.
Oh, but
Yeah, you weren't here, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So what happened?
do they have the?
I don't know,
I still don't know. I really don't know, because that was, the screen was
Just
on,
worried about
but
something.
they were using it, I don't.
Oh,
They had to check them out. If I didn't have some kind of, much like, maybe it's locked it or.
They
But
popped
it's
up
system.
this, 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 they're using.
So they have a PowerPoint.
Yeah,
The help
yeah.
one with Helen
I thought they would have
and
more.
maybe Susan. We have to call it over.
Back if I were you,
Oh, the new
I
music.
would put in
Oh,
some
gee.
kind of request to
Have
Michelle.
fun.
Well, these tables will be easy. I know,
That's the problem.
but I want to make sure that, just want to make sure we're in the right place.
Who to go to. Change and say,
Did
can
you
we
want
have
some
more
help?
about this Go Icon?
I don't know, I don't wait.
I mean, I don't have, around here, no, collate, but I can help you type. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I am not doing anything.
Connect,
You want
maybe,
me to
maybe I
touch
should
something?
do a form. Make sure.
Yeah, everything we said has been recorded. I don't know how many times I swore it out here.
Did I tell you about the first time, a couple of months ago, I was still doing the minutes. And Joe Tino had his AI recording on,
Yeah.
and he sent it to me.